The consoles have hit their sweet spot, favorite franchises are making great strides, and 2016 is shaping up to be a phenomenal year for video games. But which will be the best? I'm GhostRobo, and here are my top 10 most anticipated games of 2016. Kicking things off at number 10 is The Last Guardian. And I almost want to call it At Long Last Guardian because this thing has been in development forever. But it's finally coming out for PlayStation 4 this year, and that big, cuddly, cute bird, dog, chicken thing is going to be awesome. I know the game will be very, very well made. It might be kind of eccentric. It might be kind of weird. But Team Ico and Project Trico will deliver. I assume it to be a puzzle game with a lot of emotional power, and hopefully that thing doesn't die a terrible, sad, whimpering death at the end of the game. But even if it does, as long as they borrow some of the puzzle elements from Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, I know this one will be great. I'm a little bit concerned about the tortured development and that very elongated cycle, but Sony knows they need strong exclusives this year, and so if they have the faith to release it, I am going to believe in them. I cannot wait to play this. It's one my girlfriend is excited about as well. And again, that cute, cuddly creature. He's kind of ugly. He's kind of pretty. But all I know is that it'll be really fun to puzzle solve with him as we navigate a very beautiful world with an unnamed boy and a really weird pet. At number 9, we have Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls. Yes, Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 looks amazing. I've played it and it feels amazing. They've taken what's great about Dark Souls and spiced in a little bit of that Bloodborne speed and aggressiveness and have made what I hope is the best game in the franchise. Demon's Souls scared me off way back on the PlayStation 3. It was definitely a brutal experience. Dark Souls really welcomed me into the Souls franchise, and then I subsequently beat 1, 2, and really loved Bloodborne. But I think my allegiance lies more along the Dark Souls side of the equation than the Bloodborne side, because the Sword and Shield, more defensive gameplay just works better for me, and I think for this style of game. It adds a lot more strategy when you do have to read patterns and play more carefully than Bloodborne, which a lot of times could just go with an all-out maul the opponent as quickly as you can type tactic. Something about Sword and Shield, something about strafing and circling just fits this franchise, and it looks gorgeous. I've played in the network test. I hopefully will be playing a lot more of it soon, and I've seen some recent footage from Software's live stream, and holy cow, the vistas in that game, it looks better than Bloodborne from a visual standpoint. I think they are doing wonders on PlayStation 4 and on Xbox One. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It'll be an interesting title because they've released a bunch of these kind of games in quick succession, and it's become almost a genre of its own. People are worried that this may be the one that breaks the camel's back, that has people saying, we need a break from Souls games and Souls styles difficulty and that just whole formula for a while. But if Dark Souls 3 takes what made Dark Souls 2 really good and brings back some of Dark Souls 1 and integrates a little bit of Bloodborne, could we see the crown jewel of this franchise in its fifth, technically fourth, but really fifth because we're going to include Bloodborne, iteration? Demon, Dark, Dark 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3. Fifth time's the charm. That is not a phrase, but it's one I believe in. I think Dark Souls 3 is going to be amazing in April, and I cannot wait to play it. Number 8 is Quantum Break. Remedy's first next-gen adventure is an Xbox One exclusive, merging TV show with gameplay, and hopefully doing it well. It's a weird mix that has never quite worked out before, but perhaps their chops and prowess can get the job done. I absolutely adored Alan Wake Last Generation, how it merged eerie, creepy thriller vibes with shooter gameplay and a really cool, albeit kind of strange storyline. I hope we get a whole lot more of that in Quantum Break. I think the gameplay looks cool, building on all of these time powers and mind abilities, but something about it just seems sort of generic, and that's why I have it all the way up at number 8. Based on how much I love Alan, you'd think this would be higher on my list, but until I actually play it for myself, see what the overarching plotline and story is, and find out exactly how well that TV show and game mix, I'm going to leave it sitting pretty at number 8. Number 7 is Mirror's Edge 2, my personal darling from the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era. I love me some Mirror's Edge. First-person parkouring didn't make me sick, but it did make me smile, and I hope Mirror's Edge 2 does that and more. They've opened up the world, they're bringing in quests, and a whole lot more story into Mirror's Edge, and part of that makes me really excited, and part of that makes me really worried, because some of what made Mirror's Edge so great was that it was incredibly focused, it knew what it was, and it stuck to it, almost in an episodic nature without being an episodic game. It felt like a very confined, controlled story with very confined and controlled level design that ended up working out great. When you open it up, does that make it lose some of its luster? Does it feel too similar to other games? Does the momentum, both literally and figuratively, disappear, or is it able to maintain that and evolve Faith and her journey into something even more? I hope the latter is the case. I played the demo back at E3 in June of 2015, and it felt really good. It felt like Mirror's Edge, but it also felt like Mirror's Edge. I hope the final game does incorporate some new elements to Faith's moveset as well as to the Mirror's Edge universe. The story looks to be a lot bolder in scope this time, and I'd like to see them take that parkouring to the next level, whether that's in terms of the kinds of runs Faith does, the places that you're doing those runs, or just the way that the quests further enhance that gameplay loop. I would love it if I was able to go on a whole bunch of sweet running quests and explore different environments and reach super high points in the city and go down to the sewers below and find cool collectibles, boost Faith. I don't know if there's going to be any sort of leveling up system or any character modification, but I really hope that's in there. I think it would add a lot to the game and add a lot to your exploration of the big city. But even if they don't have any sort of RPG element in there, I think it could still be super cool and a sleeper choice for Game of the Year. It is a major game, but it sort of was a minor franchise in the last generation, and I'm looking forward to seeing if EA and DICE can take Mirror's Edge 2 and put it on the pedestal that it really deserves to be. They're going to need to nail that open world, they're going to need to make sure combat doesn't factor in too heavily, and they're going to tightly need to weave an interesting narrative that makes Faith a worthwhile character to believe in and care for. I hope Mirror's Edge 2 really delivers. Cannot wait to play more. Closed beta was just announced. Maybe that will give me the confirmation I need, but regardless, free running and freaking gorgeous 1080p HD is going to be a sight to see when the game releases. Number 6 is Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I was a little divided on Deus Ex Human Revolution. I loved the game, but it felt like it just wasn't fully baked. It felt like it was missing some oomph, and I feel like what it needed was a next generation console, and so I'm hoping that Mankind Divided can deliver the ultimate Deus Ex experience and also the ultimate futuristic action RPG experience with the sickest visual flair on the planet. That universe looks so good, and when I watched the demo being played at E3 of Adam Jensen rocking and rolling through a warehouse that was incredibly varied in terms of aesthetics and environment in comparison to Human Revolution, where it was a lot of office spaces and seemingly repeated environments, he was using super sick weapons, and he was using verticality to his advantage. The game looked huge. It looked like an incredible evolution, even over some of the open world stuff we've already seen on PS4 and Xbox One. From a character model standpoint, sure, it's not the best, but the world itself, the lighting, looked fantastic. There was a little bit of an awkward encounter with one of the bosses, how you can sort of talk them down and do sort of that dialogue battling, and I hope that doesn't, sully an otherwise fantastic game, but Adam Jensen looked amazing, the game looked amazing, and I think now that they have so much console power to work with, or at least more than they did last time, I'm hopeful that they can fully realize what Deus Ex could and should and will be. Heck, Human Revolution received plenty of 9s and was beloved by many people. I just felt like it didn't reach its true full potential, and that's what I'm looking for when Mankind Divided comes out in August. It has been delayed. They've given it extra time, extra care, extra love, and I hope that pays off for them. It's post E3, so we'll surely see more at the 2016 iteration of that big, beautiful convention. But this one is sooner than you think. August will be here before you know it, and I hope that we're talking about Deus Ex all the way into November and December and maybe even beyond. I'm sure that this game will be huge, but I hope that it feels that it's very finely crafted. I hope that the side quests and the optional stuff feels better than futuristic Detroit felt in the first Deus Ex, and I hope that the environments and the playstyles are a little bit more fully realized, and both of those seem to be very, very moving forward in the demo that I saw. Like I said, in that short time, you went through this warehouse that wasn't just a warehouse, but there was also like a hydroponics greenhouse section and a whole lot more. Plus, he has arm blades that he can fire off and attach people to walls, and that's just ridiculously cool. And a bunch of new powers, and the way that they've modified some of his systems looked like they were all smart choices. And so I am really excited for Deus Ex. I don't typically get very invested in big RPGs. I was hoping Fallout would be the one for me. I hate that it wasn't, but I'm hoping that perhaps Deus Ex Mankind Divided will be the one that really grabs me with its creepy robotic arm this August. Marking the halfway point, number 5 is For Honor, Ubisoft's most unique and break-the-mold title in years. This one pits knights, Vikings, and samurai all against each other in epic PvP battles, plus it has a full single-player campaign. While I have no idea what that single-player will look like, I have played a bunch of the multiplayer, and it is super visceral, super intense, and super fun. I've only gotten a chance to see one map, one mode, and one faction, but already I'm drooling over this one because of how different and diverse this multiplayer feels compared to the rest of its competition. You've got very intense and very tactical Dark Souls-style sword combat gameplay in a PvP setting where one-on-one battles are at the crux of each match. There's a great push-pull mechanic that keeps things interesting till the very last second, and I think it's a super cool and super fun new IP, new take on multiplayer for 2016. I can't wait to play more of the factions and see what those characters, those weapons, and those styles bring to the table, as well as what other modes the team at Ubisoft has up their sleeve. It's great to see a new IP, and especially great from Ubisoft considering they reuse and recycle just about as much as anybody, and half my list this year is new IP, so I'm hoping 2016 can really turn the corner for PS4 and Xbox One and start bringing us those brand new characters and brand new worlds we are so hungry for. For Honor looks to be a really exciting multiplayer and also single-player package when it releases later this year. Number 4 is Battleborn, and boy oh boy am I excited for Battleborn. It's a title I'll play with my friends, my family, and my girlfriend, and that is a massive rarity, so I'm super stoked for this one launching in May. I've played a ton of it, so I'm sure of its quality, I'm sure of its premise, and I'm sure of its promise, and no, I've never been sponsored or paid a single penny to talk about or play Battleborn. I've played a lot of it, but I bet if you were given the opportunity to play a lot of a game you really liked, you'd probably say heck yes too. Battleborn has been labeled a hero shooter, a first-person MOBA, and a Borderlands follow-up, but it's really a combination of the three of those categorizations. Battleborn has a single-player co-op campaign, it has a robust character and account progression system, and it has competitive multiplayer in 3 varieties: Capture and Hold, appropriately called Capture, a minion-focused mode called Meltdown, guiding your little dudes into grinders while also balancing hero battles in the lanes, and then a more MOBA-focused mode called Incursion that I've never played, but I'm really excited to play because I think that will probably end up being the go-to focal mode for Battleborn. But what really sells Battleborn to me is the colorful, crazy, cool, chaotic cast of characters. There's 25 of them. They're all included on the disc. 2K has learned from their kind of weird DLC practices and are bringing you a boatload of content for $60, which is more than can be said of Overwatch or Paragon thus far. I think both of those games are super cool, but I like the fact that this is a multiplayer-focused game that also includes a single-player component and has crossover between the two. So any XP, loot, characters you gain in single-player/co-op will carry over to your progress in multiplayer and vice versa. So you're unlocking skins, you're unlocking new characters, you're gaining new loot packs, and that all is going to be applicable throughout both sort of the entire Venn diagram of the game, single-player, co-op, and multiplayer. I really like the co-op, and there's some badass bosses and sweet scenarios, but I think multiplayer is where the game will shine and where I'll spend most of my time, and I love the variety of the characters and how they all give you different experiences. You've got everything from tiny penguins stuffed inside massive mechs to wannabe vampire swordsmen to OG shooter soldiers, so it really can appeal to everyone. The guys who've played MOBAs, the guys who play shooters like Call of Duty, the guys who like character action games like God of War, and the guys who have never played any of them and just want something fun. And it also can appeal to the girls too, because a cool side note is that Battleborn goes out of its way to deliver empowered and awesome female characters. There's a lot of them, and none of them are sexualized, none of them are hyper naked, and none of them are super stupid. They're all very strong, very awesome, very cool characters, and most of my favorite characters in that game are of the female variety. And that's not to say they're all picture-perfect blonde models, because the female characters I like include a really tiny weird witch, a girl that looks like she's straight out of Dragon Ball Z, and a girl with a milk stripe in her hair named Melka. But there's also a bird named Benedict, a troll named Boulder, and a really weird robotic creation named Isaac. This game has charm out the wazoo. It borrows stuff from Borderlands without being Borderlands. So it's got the charm, it's got the humor, and it's got the loot, but it definitely plays, feels, and exists entirely separate and different from Borderlands. You'll definitely get the vibe and the feel because it's made by the same people, but it's a wholly separate game, and it's in no way a sequel or a follow-up. This is its own thing, and it focuses on that first-person, multiplayer, character-driven experience and brings twists to the MOBA market space in a way that I hope is super successful. It's on PC and console. It can be played excellently with controller, and it is so much fun. So definitely don't overlook this one. Battleborn is out in May, and it is a blast. Nearing the top of our list, number 3 is Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. I love me some PvZ. Garden Warfare 1 was the surprise hit from EA, and it did a darn good job with DLC, gameplay, and player base. That one lasted for a long time, filled our chops with free content, and just brought together this really weird mix of plants and zombies and third-person shooting and progression and sticker packs. A little bit of that Pokemon booster pack flair, a little bit of that Plants vs. Zombie mobile love, and a whole lot of variety in that game. Now, class-based Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 borrows from Destiny and brings you a huge hub world where you can grind out XP, meet up with friends, or test out some unique modes. Now, there also is a huge playlist of multiplayer game modes that are some from the original and some brand new, flipping the script on the co-op aspect, now allowing you to defend graveyards as the zombies from an onslaught of plants. So you've got plants defending from zombies, zombies defending from plants, you've got plants versus zombies, zombies versus plants, you've got gnomes, you've got kill confirm. This is like the weirdest mashup, but it works so well. They've introduced a whole new cast of characters, 6 to be specific, 3 on each side, and they frankly are the most fun to play. They've also brought back all the old classes, so fear not if you have a favorite or you want to dip your toes back in those OG G1 waters, but Super Brains, Colonel Corn, Rose, they are where it's really at, and they've got an awesome moveset, including the tiny imp that can crash down a Titan and then walk around wrecking everyone. They've made tweaks based on the recent beta, so hopefully we have a very polished and balanced multiplayer experience where it launches. But again, we've got a game where everything carries over. You can work together with your friends, you can fight against enemies, and you can do it all in this gorgeous, colorful, vibrant world of PvZ. I love the fact that in 2016, we're getting a game with no blood, no gore, no guns, and no girls. Well, they're kind of guns and they're kind of girls, but they take the shape of like a dolphin gun or a cactus girl. And it's just not what you'd expect from 2016 multiplayer gaming, yet it works and people love it. It's a testament to the fact that if you make a great game, it doesn't matter if it's colorful and kiddie, it can still be cool amongst adults and amongst kids alike. I love what Garden Warfare stands for, I love the way it plays, and I like this new idea that there's going to be a persistent kind of open world for you to play in as soon as you drop into that title, and I love me some sticker packs. Getting more coins, fighting cool bosses, defeating my friends, and then getting to use all of that to open sticker packs to unlock new characters, cosmetic items, and cool plantables. It's like my perfect game, and I cannot wait to play a whole lot more of it in just about a week or so here. That one is coming out real soon. You'll be seeing a lot of it on my channel, and I hope you give it a chance, because even if you don't like PvZ, even if you don't like shooters, even if you don't think you like bright-colored kid games, this really blends it all together in a beautiful way and delivers a delicious smoothie that I think you cannot go without. Only 2 to go, guys and girls. Number 2 is The Legend of Zelda I don't know what it's called, but it's open world, and I think it's going to be amazing. It will probably come out for both Wii U and NX. That seems to be the surefire way to sell a boatload of copies, and this one will do just that. The first true evolution for home console Zelda in I don't know how long, but I'm really excited to see where they go with this one. What does a Nintendo open world title look like? What kind of side quests can Link go on? How do bosses and sort of the weapon-gated areas work when you've got a huge open world? How do they incorporate what they learned from the handheld titles and bring that into the home console space? And what the heck is NX? And how will a Zelda game look on it? And what will it do? And how will you control it? And what will it be like? And how much will it cost? And I can't wait for that new console. But nonetheless, The Legend of Zelda, I don't have a whole lot to say about it because frankly we've seen very little, but it looks super sweet, and I know they have worked their butts off on this one. It got a big delay, which is sad, but usually a good thing, and I know that if it does come out to be a launch title and sort of the next step for Zelda, that they've gone all in, and I can't wait to see what all-in open world from Nintendo looks like. They are some of the best mechanical developers on the planet. When they do games, they usually do them so well. So taking that into the more wonky open world space will be really interesting, and I'm super pumped to see what their impression of a more Western style RPG is, with all the cool cast and characters that we've come to know and love over the years. Plus that art style looks awesome, and I cannot wait to ride Epona around a big, gorgeous world on my brand new NX console this fall. You heard it here. It's coming out this fall. Cross-gen, Wii U, NX, The Legend of Zelda. Put it straight in my veins. I cannot wait to play this one. That brings us to number 1, my most anticipated game of 2016. Can you guess it? Do you know what it is? Process of elimination? Ones you thought you'd hear about but haven't? Want to guess? Have your guess written down? Okay, ready? You sure? You got it? What about you in the back row? Okay? Number 1, my most anticipated game of 2016 is Horizon Zero Dawn. How could it be anything else? This game stole the show at E3 2015. It's made by Guerrilla Games, who are fantastic developers. Even if Killzone wasn't the best game, they have the chops. They know how to do graphics as good as anybody. And now they've made a game that merges open world, character-driven, RPG, old-time bow and arrow style gameplay with futuristic robotic dinosaurs, massive boss-like encounters in giant open spaces, and a wicked red-haired girl that I know my girlfriend already loves. So again, perfect storm of a game. Please come out in 2016. That's the only caveat I have about putting Horizon number 1 is what if it doesn't release? Delays are sad and good, like I said, but this delay would be terrible. It has to come out. Because I am not super excited for Gears of War 4, and I'm not super excited for whatever yearly iterations we get this fall, so Horizon is what I'm pinning all of my holiday hopes on. GhostRobo can't have Christmas without Horizon, and nobody wants that. So give us Horizon, Guerrilla, and Sony. Plus, it gives PlayStation 4 a really big, boisterous, bold exclusive that I think would be enough to win the entire holiday season over Xbox One and the inevitable Nintendo NX. It looks super cool. The gameplay seems pretty darn dynamic. Obviously, we've only seen vertical slices in very controlled environments. No one's actually played Horizon, but we probably will play the heck out of it at E3 this year. And I hope that the vision we've seen in the trailers and the gameplay thus far really extrapolates out into a whole big game, because a big, beautiful open world that you can traverse at your choice and your whim with those kind of combat elements. If you notice how she took down systematically that giant dinosaur, it's not the same as like Skyrim combat where you're just hacking and whacking. It's not the same as Witcher combat where, don't get me started on Witcher combat, it's different. It's really, really cool and look to be a little bit more specific and skill-based than what we've seen. And that would make sense coming from the developers of a very skill-based shooter in Killzone. And Killzone Shadowfall, while I think had a horrible second half, the first half of that game was pretty darn solid. They know how to nail their environments. They're pretty pro at their character designs. And graphical awesomeness is what Guerrilla does. So giving them the chance to make a game in a different genre with a brand new IP is exciting on so many fronts, especially the fact that it has a chance to be really the first or one of the first. This is a PS4, Xbox One, generation franchise that we love. If you remember playing BioShock 1, Batman Arkham Asylum, Assassin's Creed 1, Mass Effect 1, Gears of War 1, you know what it's like to play a really cool franchise for the first time on a console and see it evolve over that generation. Well, we don't have a whole lot of those for this console generation. It's about time we do. Horizon Zero Dawn can be that game, and I think it can be a knockout, runaway Game of the Year winner so long as they deliver, like I said, that vertical slice, and then give me a whole lot more slices. This needs to be the biggest, best-tasting pizza that we've ever eaten, and I hope we do that at the end of the year here in 2016. Guys and girls, that wraps up my list for most anticipated games of 2016. I do have an honorable mention, and I have to throw it in there. It's Persona 5. I'm sure some of you are pissed off it's not on the actual list, but the reason it's not isn't because I'm not excited or don't think it has merits, because I know I probably will never finish it, given that it's about 80 to 100 hours long. I think it looks super amazing. The style is great. Those menus, if I was going to have someone design my wedding invitations, it would be those guys, because Persona, what Atlas does with that is incredible, and that looks to be the most visually arresting game of the year. And it's not because it has the most realistic graphics, it's because it has the best style. And I cannot wait to play it. I just don't know if I'll finish it, and that makes me a little wary to put it on my list. But let me know what's on your list of the top 10 most anticipated games, or even top 2 or top 4 or top 1 of 2016 in the comments down below. Talk about my choices. Let me know what you think, which ones you're pumped for. I cannot wait to play. Some of them are coming super soon, like Garden Warfare 2 and like Fire Emblem Fates. Some of them are far off, like Legend of Zelda and Horizon. But regardless, I think 2016 is going to be a great year for games, and a great year for me and you. So hopefully that all pans out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you had fun with me today. Until next time, guys and girls, drink some hot chocolate. Here's to an incredible 2016, and we will see you all later.